students, as we have discussed one of the leading phenomena of some natural phenomena chapter, so here is our second phenomena that is major part of this chapter, that is the earthquake. You all have heard about this name, right? And eventually you have seen pictures of on the internet of earthquake also. So what is earthquake? We are going to study that thing in deep. Fine. So here is this sudden shaking of or tremor of the earth is called the earthquake, and it lasts for very short time. It is not like this that this natural disaster lasts for a long time. It is very short but very hazardous. In a very short period of time, it brings lots of calamities, lots of losses of lives, and lots of dangerous things. Buildings will fall during this short period of time, and lots of lakhs of peoples were killed. Fine. So this is very dangerous thing. Okay. So why this thing happened? This actually earthquake, if we terminate this thing into two parts. So earth means earths and quake means trembles. That means the shaking thing. So if the part of the earth is shaking, so we can say that the earth is quaking. That is the earthquake. Fine. So this is what earthquake is. So how are earthquake caused? What is the reason behind the earthquake causing? So students, as you know that the earth is not made up of a single slide. Fine, it is having lots of layers. Like as you seen in the diagram, there is a core part that is inside the earth, deep down in the center of the earth, there is a core part, then the mantle and the inner core, outer core, mantle part and the crust. So the outermost layer, that is actually a crust part. Okay. So this crust part is not just a very thin layer, but yeah, comparative to the other layers, this is very thin layer. Fine. But the earthquake caused due to this layer only, because the shaking of this layer is like a permanent job of the earth that is actually changing its shape and size right now. How? Because the layers that are present here, dear students, are shifting from one place to another place. You might have known that earlier all the continents that are present on the earth right now are actually the one part only. Okay, but because of the shifting of the plates that is present on the earth crust, actually they get divided and bring the different continents, and here we live on the Asia. Fine. So this collision of the crust part in the form of plates, that plates are shifting like this as you have seen in the diagram, like this, or they might get collide, or like this also, they can diverge also. Okay, there may be any kind of friction between the two plates, or maybe some kind of meteor come from the sky that to bring the shaking of the earth crust. So all these factors, that the shaking of the earth crust and the leading of the part of shifting the plates that is present on the earth crust, all these leads to the formation of the earthquake. So students, as we seen the layers of the earth crust, so we can say here after the study of the part of the earth crust that the earth lithosphere is divided into about 20 parts, and that is not a single part. I have told you now that the crust part of the earth is not so thin that we can eventually take it as just a one layer, because it is divided into several more layers. Okay, deep down, if you are going deep down like 50 kilometers deep, then only you will find to have a new layer. Fine. So here we can say that the lithosphere is divided into 20 parts, and that 20 parts eventually can cause any of the part is the responsible for the earthquake. Like the points here is one part, and here this one is the second layer, and these two are shifting like this. Okay, if they are shifting like this, so the vibrations that is coming out due to this seismic focus, we will going to discuss what is seismic focus, but this is the main point from where this shifting can affect, and this actually producing the vibrations in this layer, and these vibrations moving outward and forming the earthquake. Okay, so these kinds of layers are actually responsible, 20 parts. Okay, so any of the part can be responsible for the earthquake. So here are some areas that are actually known as to be a prone zone. Okay, so there mainly anytime an earthquake can occur. So here the main parts that are actually seismic zones or the fault zones, we can say that the weak zones which have more chances or experiences an earthquake. So what are these? Actually, the one is Kashmir, Himalayas, Run of Kutch, that is in Gujarat, Indo-Gangetic Plain, Northern East India, and some part of South India. South India is the least prone area. Here we get least number of earthquakes, but the upper parts of the India are mainly very high risk, and they simultaneously, like in 5 or 10 decades, you will definitely get one kind of earthquake there. Okay, like in newspaper also you randomly get to heard that here we will get the earthquake in this part of India, here we get the earthquake in this part of India. So these are the fault zones. Here the fault zones like this, we can say the shifting of plates in these areas are actually going to be continuous. Okay, as we can say here also our Indian plate is actually shifting towards the China right now. Okay, that is why the Himalayas that are present here are known to be as young fold mountain. Why we call them young fold mountain? Because they are still developing themselves and bringing high. Okay, so why this is going to happen? Because the Indian plate is shifting toward this side, and that bringing the mountain or more high. Fine. So this shifting of plates are the evidence that we are not in a static position. We are continuously in a motion. The plates that are shifting and can cause anytime, anywhere, the earthquake, and that leads apart.